Okay. Hello. I want that to actually be live. Seriously, stay live. Stop ending up several seconds behind. Like, I have 2 different votes from people I've asked if the fairy should be small or human-sized. I think I'm inclined to small simply because everyone else I've done is human-size. Plus, it might be easier to use the branch I've already sketched her on. Okay. Hello, Manga Nerd. Yeah, trying to figure out if she should be small or human size. Like, most of the other fairies I've drawn are like full human size. Small might be easier to actually get. Plus, there's so much detail I'd have to actually put in the plants. And this is a very... It's an interesting plant. The vine seems to be native to, like, the American South. I don't know where everyone's from. I saw the butterfly, I thought it looked cool, so I based the whole fairy off of this butterfly. And now I'm looking at the plant it's usually on. It's kind of a weird plant. Yeah, I think I'm inclined to small. Shall we switch over? I'll also be switching the music. There we go. Okay. I'm not going to be paying attention to that one anymore anyway. Actually, I need it up because I need the reference picture over here. Okay. Come on. I want you like that. Okay. Because I need the plant reference picture in front of me on the phone. What do you mean you're not receiving enough video? There's nothing I can do. And it's not my fault. Okay. Did I actually position this just right? I did. That can actually go in between her wings without actually needing to change anything. I want that bigger. Okay, where's the woody part? I need to see a picture of the woody part of the vine. Because she's on the inside. I don't need you concentrating on the flower, as weird as the flower is. That's even worse. The leaves cover everything so much, it's so hard to tell. I essentially want, if we're making her small, I want her on the inside. I need to zoom back out for one. Move her back over here. That's not supposed to be... There we go. That needs to be smaller than that. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and rotate her because I do want to get the vine in. The vine she's sitting on, at least. I'm just starting with basic colors. I like having a base and then build on it. What if I had to put in scale? How big are these? The flowers are certainly big. Very big. Okay. The leaves are like maybe a third of the size of the flower, depending upon how grown the flower is. And potentially specific type. Okay. But getting like it calls it a woody plant. But everything I'm seeing looks a green. It looks like a lighter green. I'm going to turn her off for now. Let's turn the opacity down. Every time I'm trying to do this, like she's on top of this whole thing. But I like having my backgrounds be that they can be their own painting on their own, even without the character in it. I didn't mean to press that. Okay, I need, let's see, it'd make more sense if it's going big to small. And I've already made this side smaller. It changing size doesn't make sense. Size over and over doesn't make sense. I don't need this to actually look that smooth. It's going behind her. But it's going to bother me. Especially if I end up moving her. Which, she's a completely different set of layers. I can. And it looked like it was, by the way, it looked like the microphone was working today. So I certainly hope it actually is. Okay. I can't see YouTube anymore. There it is. Several different shades of the leaves, actually. I'm guessing newer to older leaves. It's usually how that works. Let's finish smoothing this out, though. Okay, let's put that back up. Add another layer. I'm going to need it behind it for now. Come on. I need you to part of the group. Okay. Does that look reasonable? Better. Okay. I'm going to turn her on for a moment. Okay. I don't want too much foreground because the leaves would end up blocking her. I need a close-up of the leaves without just zooming in. So that way I can see the details in the leaves. Okay. I might as well turn off the sketch for now. Because the vine was really the main thing, because she needs to be visible. Honestly, looks like there's a lot more blue in these. Can I get approximately the right shade of green? Let's see what this looks like. Let's make this bigger. I think I'm close. I mean, it's not far off from the other one. Okay, that looks pretty good for the base color of the leaves. Okay. Now reset this. That's too small. Okay. How big is she? She's on the vine. Okay. I'm going to turn it off for a bit. Yeah. Tinkerbell size seems reasonable. These leaves are very big. I don't want to take care of it. It doesn't grow in my area. I just want a better look at the leaves. There's so many different shades on these leaves. This is just one shade. Okay. It's like, how tall is Tinkerbell? And how long, how big are these leaves? Just because the cutout's 3 feet doesn't mean she is. She is definitely measured in inches. Her height's actually about 5 inches, according to that, at least. Which sounds way more reasonable. Six to 12 inches in length and width. It's like 5 inches makes way more sense than the 3 feet that cutout supposedly is. So apparently she's going to be about half the size of these leaves. So I only need to draw like half the leaf, if that. Especially if I want to actually fit more than one in here. And the flower, which is even bigger. Because she takes up most of this. Okay, I need... Let's take outright black. Her height... I need something smaller than that. I need at the top of her hair. And this looks mostly extended. If we truly could extend it completely, it'd probably be around here. Let's turn her off for now. This right here is about 6 inches. I don't need palette script right now. I need basic Palatino Luna type should work. I need it bigger than 6. I'm probably taking this too far. Okay. If that's about 6 inches... No, 5 inches. Let's type the right thing. 6 would go all the way up to the, 6 would go to the tip of the wings, approximately. Ish. But if that's 5 inches, which is a little less than half... Let's combine that with the arrow. Okay. I need the big one. Pretty much this entire section right here. Oops. Not that far over. Okay, now I need other shades of these leaves. It'd be best if I have one plant in the various shades in that. Because it's never just one shade of green. Make that smaller again. I'm trying to smooth this out a little bit. Because they're not jagged leaves. They're very much smooth. I'm going to need a different layer for each and every leaf. Looks like we have a yellowish green. That actually looks about right. The interesting part will be when I'm getting to the details on these, which I doubt will be today. Not that small. Yeah, this should be fairly straight at this point. I meant that to be an eraser. It's going to be a rounded tip, period. Okay, another layer, probably under. I need another shade. There's definitely going to be something in between these two colors, so. That seems reasonable. Heart-shaped. They're definitely heart-shaped. Bigger than that. As I'm putting the top here, I need it to be very distinctly going down. Let's turn off this one for now. And that we're nowhere near the tip of it. There's going to need to be a lot more detail on these than I usually do. But this whole thing's about experimentation, so. Even if there's less experimentation on her herself. Okay, I need a different shade for that section back there. I think I want a different angle for this. I'm not sure how visible it's going to be anyway. I'm planning on putting one of the flowers, like the edge of the flower over here somewhere. Probably right in that corner. It'd make sense if it was darker. It's behind everything else. Literally, you're not going to see it over everything else. Okay. Except this is actually going to be foreground. So, I need to group this one. I accidentally hit the T instead of the R. I'm still not dealing with it. Okay, I need the flowers now. Okay, I need her because I don't want to block her off completely. I need the main... Actually, it's the color of her shoes. Kind of also heart-shaped, just in the other direction. Like, the leaves point down, but the flowers point up. I said I don't want to cover her completely. And these are bigger than the... Maybe I should just do a straight line here. Maybe less of an angle. Or more of an angle, technically. Okay, kind of need to smooth it. Oops, that's still on eraser. I don't want it to be that sharp. Okay, what is the texture on this flower? And this is why I've used the line tool. Because I end up going back and forth. Let's change the angle and zoom in. There we go. Possibly make this smaller. It's very rare when things in nature are like perfectly straight. Super rare. I think locally, I think it's called the lodgepole pine. I think it would make sense to work on each layer at a time. So we have the base. Let's work on the flower. Okay, that actually looks white. Yeah, that outright looks white. I'm really sure I have a texture like this. Is it this? It's close. It's not what I'm looking for, but it's close. Nope. I didn't think it would. Also pretty close. Oh, hello. That's more like it. Do I have a better one? Because I'm not... This might actually be better. No. Nope. I think that one might be the best I have. That's just grass. I think it's too close together though. Yeah, even like that, it's too close together. Are these the same? They are, they're just at different angles. I didn't realize I had two of the same one. Nope. This is what makes this size harder. Not pixel art, maybe ink. I need something that just kind of spreads from... Because that's not what I'm looking for. That could work if I do it right. It'd also be just really annoying. Because if I can get a crackle effect going out from where I start... That's not what I wanted. It's not going to be under basic. It's definitely not going to be under that. I don't know why I clicked it. What's this do? Way too straight. Pretty sure none of these are going to do what I want. Or what I'm thinking of. They're interesting effects, but that's not even showing up. What's this do? None of those would have worked if I wasn't on RGB. I don't know if I actually have one that'll do this. That's good for wood texture, but not what I'm doing. No. Sometimes it's just fun to play with them, even if I'm not going to use them. And back to the texture section. The weather ones aren't going to work, right? But lightning would probably be the closest. But at the same time, not. I think that crackle is going to be my best bet. Unless I want to go over and do each and every line myself. I probably should. Are these like little white spots that I've missed? No, they're just there. Weird. Okay. Which of these is gonna go? It's more solid than that. Still more solid than that. No, it's on eraser. What is actually the visual difference there? This far out, there's not much difference between these. Reset that. Because one has solid edges, one does not. Okay. Maybe under the paintbrushes? Or ink? Maybe ink. Now these seem like pretty set lines. Oh. Nope. Oh. What's this cool one look like? You can't go to sleep, phone. I'm not allowing it. I've already tried that one. Does this only count if it's on that same line? It does. Interesting. Let's go look at paint. That might be useful later, maybe. That's interesting. Not what I'm looking for right now, but that, one sec. It wasn't that one. That might be useful for the texture on the flower. When I hit undo, it's supposed to undo. That's too subtle. What about this? That's too much. What about you? No. Oh, one sec. I can actually make sure nothing goes outside the section. No, it's more like that one. Make that bigger. Nope. So far, this seems like the best bet. Because it does that interesting, Ooh, do I have it? That might be too subtle, though. It's like, let's turn it off and on. I can see it, but it might be too subtle now. I keep going over this. No, not the size. Opacity. Turn down the opacity 50%, turn to eraser. Now what do I have? I've ended up doing the texture. You can't see the texture on the white, so the white's just going on top. If I can at least get the flower figured out, I'll start working on the leaves over the next couple of weeks. Nope. Definitely not. Actually. Turn off the eraser. The ground textures actually work. One of the various ground textures. This is the forest stamp. If I go back and forth between these, that looks pretty visible to me. Okay, now back to figuring out the white parts. At the same time, I'm essentially just looking at this small section here, so it won't actually be as bad as I keep thinking it will be. It needs to be bigger than that. They're definitely wider than that. Let's go back to ink. They don't fade on the edges. I think the main thing is that crackle. Okay, I'm going back over to textures. If I turn this all the way up, it's still not right. And it's actually not big enough. That's not right either. Yes, I keep trying to find a shortcut to doing this myself. I'm really sure that's not going to do what I want. Interesting. Not what I'm looking for. What do you do? It's a solid white. That might work. What's this do? Interesting. Wait. It's copying. I didn't realize I had essentially a copy. I'm not sure how useful I may make it, but does it do it on multiple colors? Now I want to see if it does it on multiple colors. It does. It does the whole thing. That's kind of cool. Interesting. It's still not what I need, but that's not what I wanted. I wanted to mess with it. Can I turn this on scatter? What happens if I turn this on scatter? Interesting, but not what I'm looking for. I'm not sure any of these other things would work. What if I turn scatter on down here? Ooh, that'd be a good one for like Northern Lights, actually. I don't think it really works for this. Yeah, that would be good for Northern Lights. That's cool. But yeah, I don't think it actually works for this. That feels a little too big. No. That needs to be bigger than that. Interesting what happens when I make it bigger. Some of them do some interesting things when you make them bigger. basically a paint roller. It could whitewash the whole thing. Wow. No. Make it bigger. That's too far. I'm gonna have to go to the ink, aren't I? Why is that at 15% opacity? Is that just how that is? Yeah, that's just how that is. I see why it's at 15% opacity. What happens if I turn it all the way up? I like the edges of that. It's a little too big. If I change the size, it doesn't... The lines on this are actually pretty big. This is why I was really hoping one of these would do like a weird scatter thing around it. But as far as I can tell, none of them do. Not that close. What if I put this underneath? You can barely see them. Yeah, there's those little white marks along every single... Do I have one that's the shape of like approximately a triangle? These are meant for pixel art. I'm just curious what they do. Hello. No. Okay, I think I want to go back to that. What was it under sketch? Yes, it was. I need to mess with settings a little bit. The size is pen enabled. I draw really lightly, so... Whoa! Did not mean to reset that. To add another. Yeah, I don't see a difference there. What about ratio? Let's turn that back off. As interesting as scatter would be, I don't think it's what I'm looking for this time. What does rate do? It doesn't seem to change anything. Wait, I can change the texture of this. There's a chainmail texture? I don't tend to mess with the textures. Maybe I should mess with the textures more. What about this? Admittedly, I don't think the textures are what I'm looking for. They may have helped that one, though. That kind of looks like wood. Whatever, it says wood, that's why. I'm not sure what the texture was on this in the first place. Okay, I want to mess with this. Mostly visible that way. Not exactly what I'm looking for, but it's interesting. I think that. Do I have flow or opacity on here somehow somewhere? There it is. It's strength. What does ratio do? This other scatter doesn't seem to do anything. Same with that one. It's just kind of funny. That's the scatter, by the way. Is there another thing I have that can... that after I've drawn the lines, would it work? Okay, we're going... I went too light there. They still connect, even if barely. I could have sworn I still had it on the paper. I didn't think I'd actually lifted the pen. Not that far. Yeah, is there a setting I can make? Kind of looks more like it's following this. And do my best to actually match the line. I think that works. Now I just gotta find something. Let's add another layer. Find something that when I mess with their settings, it actually ends up going pretty much everywhere I want it to. Because this is a little too smooth. There's a lot more settings for a pencil. I'm not gonna mess with that. This is going to have the same things, isn't it? Yes, it is. Messing with that might be helpful, but at the same time, I don't want to deal with all those settings. It's so much more than everything else. I need something that's essentially made of lines. That's definitely the wrong... What happens if I turn scatter on here? It needs to be smaller for one if I'm doing that. Not that small. Nope, that doesn't work. That's a single. Okay. Now what happens if I turn on scatter? I don't think it's going to do what I want either, but... yeah, that's definitely not. closer, but it's not what I want. Oh good, this pencil actually has... Not that you can tell a difference. Can I turn scatter on these? No. Okay. I don't think so. Leaky? What does this one do? I don't really think this will do what I want, but... What if I follow these? I need that thicker. Okay. What if I flip this backwards? No. There's got to be something that at least gets me close. I can't think of a way to make this work. Not how I want it to. Okay, I think we can go over to textures. Can I rotate this? I can, in fact, rotate it. Scatter won't work. Scatter's not good. Okay, let's see. I need this smaller than that. Okay, this is actually getting close. Like, it's not quite there, but it's much closer. What happens if I did the stars? Actually, yeah, what if I did the stars? I want them closer together. What happens now? Not really. They have two straight of lines. Can I take that one? I need to do much smaller now. This crackle one. Because I need rotation. Let's turn on the rotation for one. Spacing. They're spacing. Can I get you further away? I seriously want you further away. What are the settings on the stars? Yeah, that's not getting any further apart. In fact, it just seems to be closer. Yet somehow spacing just makes it closer. Why? I want them further apart. Did scatter actually do it when set all the way down? Still not what I want. Isn't it meant like this? What can I do to this? What if I turn this off? I want to pressure instead. What does that do? I mean, it shows me that, but... don't like that. Yeah, what if I turn on scatter? What happens? It looks weird, but I don't think it's what I want. I just want to see what happens. It isn't really what I want, but I think it's actually getting close. What if I did this to the grass? Let's just start with that. It's bigger than that. Those all stay up. I don't want them to stay up. Ooh. And then smaller. Not that small. Can I get something in between? What about this other grass stamp? I'm not sure it's right. For one, let's make it smaller. Another turn on rotation. Not that small, apparently. Okay, back to the other grass. I think it is my best bet. But it's also not quite what I'm looking for. That's not what I want. That's what I want. I'm going to turn on scatter and see what happens here. I need that closer together. Oh my gosh, it's not even touching that one. It finally started touching it that far in. What's this? Leaves. Actually, let's stick it with that. That's actually really close. If I make this smaller. Because we've got the main lines. But they do that weird... Let's rotate this. Because just doing the lines wasn't good enough. Come on, I need you to actually... You know what? Let's rotate again. Almost. That looks much better. It was the leaves. It was the leaves the whole time. And there is one more thing that needs to be on here. I think I want it smaller than that. Maybe not that small. Maybe 20? $15 looks about right. No, it needs to be under that. If I turn the opacity down on this a little bit. The veins. The veins in the leaf. Okay, we're pausing here. It's been an hour and a half since I started. And I'm actually doing the Patron stream today. Just remove this layer. We've got the flower. And the basis for all the others. I didn't want to do that. I want to do that. One sec. I want to turn these off for a moment. Okay. It's like I wasn't supposed to try and figure out how to get the vine, like, underneath the dress here. But this will be it for now. I'll be working on the leaves next time. But I will not be live next week. I actually got off the wait list for Lilac City, and I will actually be there in the Artist Alley. That's why I'm doing the Patron stream right after this. I think that's all I can think of right now. So yeah, next week will be a not live, and then I have Sandpoint, which will also be a not live. So I will be live again in 3 weeks. You will get not lives over the next 2 weeks. In theory, I'll be finishing her by that. At least the second one, if not the first one. Because that was all that detail just on like the base, figuring out the size, and the detail on the flower. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I'll be at Lilac City, and then Sandpoint. Not lives over the next 2 weeks. But that's all I can really think of right now. So. In the meantime. There we go. Okay. I have it all set up. Anyway, so. I'll actually be putting up actual announcements on the community page as well as at least Instagram. And with a map of where I'm going to be at Lilac City. Yeah, I think that's all I can think of. I'll be doing the Patron stream next, so I will see whoever will be there. If you like this at all, please subscribe. I'm Lorraine Fire, and well, I'll see you next week. Well, I'll see you in a few weeks. You'll see me next week. Bye!